Thanks, Laura. Parenting is a tough enough job as it is, but when you add technology into the mix, things can really get complicated. Well, this morning, parent, author, and media personality Bill Ratner is here to talk about his book and how it can help parenting for the digital age. And good morning. So nice to have you here, Bill.
Thank you, Sally. Nice to be here.
Now, you live in Los Angeles, but we all know you here in New Orleans because of your voice. We hear your voice every day.
Due to the wonders of electricity, every day I say things like, "This is WWL-TV Channel 4's Eyewitness Morning News, starring Sally Ann Roberts."
Well, actually, we won't hear that particular announcement, but you are the voice of Channel 4, and it's great to have you here.
Thank you.
Why did you decide to write this book? I mean, here you are, you work in the media, and yet you are criticizing the media.
I want to say that it's a beautiful packet.
Instead of bringing home DVDs and CDs of commercials and cartoons and things that I had done as a voiceover guy, my daughters just ate it up and learned how to operate the VCR and every electronic device in our home better than my wife and I did. And suddenly I realized I had created a monster. And we had a big babysitting group in our neighborhood. And we did an experiment. Let's ban digital technology on Saturday night from 6 p.m. to midnight and babysit these kids and hang out and play and read to them. And I realized that none of us had any idea how to handle the hours that a kid spends in front of TV, in front of their laptop, on their smartphone. And so I started researching it. And somebody at a storytelling festival asked me if I'd be willing to write a book about it. And I said, a book? Sure.
Yeah, and you say advertisers in the media have targeted our children with wanton abandon.
It started with Disney. Walt Disney was a brilliant merchandiser. He started out as a cartoonist and became the greatest merchandiser in the history of the Western world. And Mattel and Hasbro and every toy company jumped on the bandwagon. Previous to about 1958, toy commercials were aimed at adults, not at kids. And then they realized there was a great power in convincing children to convince their parents to buy things.
Now we have people, and not just watching television, but the iPads and all of that, but you were very strict as a parent about allowing your children to have access to things that a lot of kids take for granted. What do you say to parents who want to begin to limit their children's use of these kinds of technologies?
This book is really for young parents who are so tempted to hand that cute little smartphone to their child to shut them up. And it works. It works brilliantly. It works a little too well. Steve Jobs of Apple Computer had a big brood of kids, and he banned digital technology altogether from his home at a certain point and said to a journalist from the New York Times, "I know exactly what it does to a family, and it's not going to happen in our home." And the guy said, "But Mr. Jobs, you invented it." And he said, "I know, and I know it well." And
but how do you talk to your kids and get them into, I mean, you're a parent, and you had some pushback when you were...
A lot of pushback. And one of the things I did that created even more pushback was I put a secret electric switch in the basement. When the kids were watching and watching too long and wouldn't listen to me, I'd sneak downstairs, throw this switch, the entertainment center would go dark. "Daddy, call the repairman." And of course, he would never call back.
Why is it important, do you think, to limit this? What happens to children who have too much exposure?
There are only a few thousand hours in a child's life when she can learn to read, to learn to relate to their peers, their friends in school, learn math, learn how to speak well. And when those a few thousand hours are up and they're 18 years old, it's a permanent problem. And so we're really not talking about the poison of the media. I love the media. I work in it and have fun with all this digital stuff, as do my kids. It's a question of how much time, and also getting your kids involved in making the rules.
Okay, well, Parenting for the Digital Age. Bill Ratner, thank you very much for joining us. And you can find this, it's a paperback book, you can find an audio book or an e-book from bookstores and online booksellers. An excellent book. It's an easy read. You'll enjoy it.
Thanks, Sally.